Today was the long-awaited day, my cousin's wedding day. Unfortunately, on the way there, my wife and I encountered some unexpected obstacles. Denver met us not very well. Our car decided to give us trouble, causing us to get stuck in traffic on the highway. As a result, we arrived at the wedding later than we had planned. By the time we entered the reception hall, the entire wedding ceremony had already taken place. I noticed a well-groomed, slightly overweight woman with a practiced smile and intonation who was asking rhetorical questions of the young couple to get their consent to marry. The hall was surrounded by family and friends, many of whom I didn't even recognize. A few photographers were busy capturing moments of the wedding on their cameras. The ceremony was over, and while my wife was engrossed in conversation with other guests, I was feeling a little sad. We continued to relax and went for a walk and photo shoot, feeling completely exhausted and hungry. Finally, we reached the restaurant where heartfelt toasts and beautiful speeches were made. My wife and I took to the dance floor, and to our delight, we were joined by newlyweds, which further enhanced the joyful atmosphere. My cousin's wife, Mary, cast an unusual glance at me and touched me inappropriately during the event. At first, I thought it was just a joke, but it soon became clear that it was not. Feeling uncomfortable with these unwanted touches, I decided to take a break and went outside for a smoke. Several people joined me and, forming a circle, we struck up a conversation while smoking. Maria was standing inside the circle, but my brother was not present. She looked at me and wiped her lips with a napkin. She then turned to another girl and announced her intention to visit the restroom. She then winked at me, conveying a hidden message. When Maria left, I followed her example, throwing away my cigarette butt and strolling leisurely toward the hall. As I entered the hall, I went unnoticed by anyone and took a few more steps until I reached the restroom door. I grabbed the handle, entered, and found Maria standing with her back to me, leaning against the sink, staring at her reflection in the mirror. I closed the door and silently approached her from behind. Her flushed cheeks were visible in the mirror as she stared intently at my reflection. I gradually moved closer, watching her closely. I gently pulled her hair aside, forcing her head down to the bottom. Her delicate neck showed, which I kissed gently. This is where it all happened. Afterward, she smiled contentedly and whispered, "We should get going before they start looking for us." I headed to the mirror to clean myself up. Maria went to the mirror as well, tidied herself up, and then I left the restroom. As I walked outside, my brother Michael, Maria's husband, came up to me and asked me worriedly, "Have you seen my wife?" Not knowing what to answer, I smiled, remembering our recent encounter with her. Although we were to meet her again in the secret room 2 hours later, that was a story for another conversation.